Welcome to Finding Magic, the podcast series where each week I sit down with someone new to discover where they find their magic and explore the wonder, creativity and connection that makes life magical. I'm Beverley Bishop, and I've been on my own journey of finding magic since 2018 after the loss of my son, Jess. It began with a play called Finding Magic, which explored my grief and my path towards rediscovering joy. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by two guests who have very different magical places. First up is Jane. Jane Leitch is a committee member at Freckenham Village Hall, a place that's so much more than bricks and mortar. It's a hub where people meet, create, celebrate, and share moments of magic. Jane, welcome to Finding Magic.
Thank you, Bev.
For those of you who haven't visited Freckenham Village Hall, Jane, I'd love you to paint a picture for us and tell us a little bit about Freckenham Village Hall and what makes it so very special.
Freckenham is a little village right on the edge of the Suffolk-Cambridgeshire border, so we're right onto the fenlands. The hall has been designed to look like a Suffolk barn, so it just melts into the background of the flat rural landscape that we live in. It's just got that nice welcoming feel.
What do you feel makes the village hall such an important part of the village community?
I think initially it was because we actually fundraised as a village in the community to bricks and mortar and build them. It wasn't a grant. Well, there was grants, but it wasn't given to us as such. We had to fundraise and have some very interesting...
So it was actually as a result of the community raising money to get it built that
it happened.
It purely exists now.
That was a magic, yeah.
And how did you do that as a village?
Well, we had all sorts of things. We had jumble sales, we had race nights. I mean, our treasurer went and was expecting a baby, and she went round saying, guess the weight of her baby, you know, and that was entrepreneurial what we did, and barbecues in people's gardens and things like that.
And can you give me examples of the kinds of thing that happens in the village hall today?
Oh, today the cleaner would have been in the morning.
Well, I don't mean today, but generally, but feel free. Well, but feel free to talk. A day in the life of the village hall.
Well, this afternoon we have our regular Monday meet-up, which is set up as somewhere to meet for people that possibly might have been on their own, especially if they've been on their own all weekend, and it's just a way to think, well, I've got something to look forward to on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And it's a wide variety of people. It can be young mums with their toddlers, and they get a hot cup of tea while somebody else entertains the toddler. Mm-hmm. It can be older people. It can be people that just been recently bereaved. And then that's just a fun place. And we get the table tennis out. Sometimes get the carpet bowls out. Then we do yoga, Pilates, circuits.
Do you do bingo?
I'm afraid to say they do.
Oh no!
I know it's not my cup of tea.
When I'm saying oh no, not because I'm afraid to say, but it is one of my favourite things in the whole wide world. Bingo.
It's a very popular event. I must admit, it's not one of mine. So somebody else organises it, but we do bingos, we do quiz nights, we'll do talks, and then we'll occasionally be really devilish and have live things like Beverley coming to visit and finding the magic.
And I have visited the village hall on a number of occasions. First of all, as I recall, it was quite a number of years ago when I was working with a rural touring scheme called Creative Arts East, who brought professional theatre and arts events to rural communities. And that's when we first met, I believe.
It certainly was.
Yeah, and I was so impressed with you all those years ago because you were so incredibly proactive in, choosing the shows and like supporting the village hall committee and deciding what show they wanted to book, and then being really, really proactive in the marketing of, each event. Yeah. And I remember coming into the village hall and it was transformed into a magical space where live performance happened.
Yeah, that's what I say to people. I said, it might be an oblong box when you walk in, but I said, give us some people that can just have that imagination, and it can be a ship, it can be a church, it can be a boat, it can be a field, it can be an ice skating ring. There's no end to the magic that can be created in that village hall. It is just beautiful.
What is it that the magic, that sense of community that you get in the village hall, what is it that it gives us?
It's the fact that people can come to an event, whether it's a daytime or an evening, and they know they're going to meet somebody that they might know, or if they don't know, they're going to make friendship. And we have found that people have made friendships, and it's been lovely that we've found people that have been bereaved. It's one of the first places they'll come to an event at the village hall, because they already feel comfortable there. And it's just nice that it's the start of their process of getting their life back, and to find some magic, thinking, I can do this, I can get out.
And what I love about, Freckenham Village Hall, particularly with regards to the live entertainment or the drama, theatre, music, you're not scared to take a risk.
Oh no, certainly not. We definitely did one that was very risque, and it was fun.
What do you mean by risque, Jane?
Oh, it was called Amsterdam. And it was with Creative Arts East, and it was a one-woman show.
Yeah.
And she was a single mum, and she went to Amsterdam for the weekend, left the baby with the mum, and she met a boyfriend. And we had everything from love scenes to her shouting through a megaphone to her mum, and she was all just in one person, just little doors and shutters and things like that. And we happened to have the director of the Rural Arts Council sitting next to me, along with my two young teenage nephews. And it was a bit, I don't but it was fine. Everybody enjoyed it, but it was just a little bit, that's not quite what you'd expect at a village hall, but it went down well. It went down well.
And that's what I think's often I think people associate village halls as being kind of places where things that are not very adventurous happen, and it's not the case at Freckenham Village Hall at all. It's the fact that you do take risks and do different kinds of things, and productions like Amsterdam, as you mentioned, it's a place where people come in order to be transported to another world, and a world actually within walking distance.
That's it exactly. I mean, you could go to the West End and pay an awful lot more, travel an awful lot more, or even into the cities and have to have parking and things like that. Here, you can walk to it. Bar prices are reasonable. You're going to know somebody, or if you don't, by the end of the evening, we're so friendly, you will know somebody because we all talk to each other, and it's just a beautiful evening out.
And that's one of the things I was going to say to you. It sounds to me like it's a place where memories are created and friendships are built as well. Would you say that's the case?
I would definitely say that's the case. We are a friendly lot. Come to the village hall and just ask for Jane and say hello. And I've made some lovely friends from that.
And have you had different roles within the committee?
I've always been the secretary.
Okay.
My passion has been the arts and live theatre events, so I've always stuck to those. I've let others get on with film nights, bingos, quizzes and things like that. I think now what my role's moving on to is more maintenance, because certain things are starting to wear out, Can you believe it? But no, the passion has always been that, and getting people to communicate and be with people. That's my passion.
Yeah. And you do it so incredibly well.
Oh, thank you.
You really do very well. I remember running a workshop at the village hall, and there was a couple who were not from the village, and they came because they'd seen the poster and they were interested in the workshop. And I do recall that you made them feel so incredibly welcome, even though they were the only two people who were, I guess, outsiders, as in not from the village.
Yeah.
And you absolutely embraced and welcomed them.
Oh yes, they are a lovely couple, and we got chatting, and I gave them information about what we did at the village hall, and I didn't think anything more of it. And then, lo and behold, the partner turns up on the Monday meet-up. And then when it was the summer holidays, he came with his granddaughter, and they played table tennis. And his wife's now started to come with her very shy granddaughter to an exercise class. And it's just lovely, because when she first arrived, she was so frightened, so scared. But now she walks in, doesn't need to hold a grand's hand. She feels happy. And she's starting to suggest, why don't we play this music or that music? You know, and it's just lovely to see how that moment of coming to see something, because they'd been attracted by the publicity, that we've gained new recruits. And what's even better is the mother of the granddaughter now comes if her shifts allow for work. So we've got 3 generations all coming to the same exercise class, which is really lovely and quite an unusual thing.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. And a village hall is absolutely a place for everybody, people of all ages. It's so incredibly inclusive.
Yeah, what a lovely thing for a toddler is. One of our regulars of Monday meetups, she asked her mummy when she drives past the village hall, "Can we go into the house where all my friends live, mummy?" And
how sweet!
And it sort of brought tears to my eyes that she felt that was where her friends lived.
So in a sense, the heart of the village hall, it's about the community and what the community gets from the hall, and people like you who organise things in the hall. Is that fair to say, do you think?
I think it is. It's not, as I say, it's not about the money. Because, we've had some events where we haven't charged anything, and then we've charged others where we have. But people have still enjoyed it. It's not a money-making machine. We try and break even, but as long as we can keep ourselves ahead and afloat, it's a good hall and it's a good venue, and we love having people come to have their special moments at the hall. And it's just a nice community venue. It is lovely.
It's a wonderful community venue. Thank you, Jane, so much for coming in and talking with me today, hearing about the magic that you and the rest of the Village Hall team at Freckenham create. A reminder of how these vital spaces are for connection, creativity and community spirit. Over the last few months, I've been speaking to a number of people about what magic means to them. Here are some of their thoughts.
Magic to me is something that doesn't happen every day, but just catches you, just catches that moment in time, whether it's seeing a new bud opening up or the hoarfrost or anything that just makes you stand back and think, wow.
Well, one of the magical experiences I've had is to do with nature. On holiday to the Isle of Coll in Scotland, we did some snorkeling with the basking sharks, and that was just an amazing experience.
I think I find my magic 2 places. One with my wife. When I'm feeling low, she lifts me and lifts my spirit. And also the garden. I find it very relaxing and therapeutic just to be in the garden, even if not doing anything, just pulling up a few weeds. Just takes you a different place. You seem to be able to lose yourself and just enjoy the moment.
Magic is in the places we visit, probably with my girls. New Year's Eve, sitting under Sydney Harbour Bridge, watching the fireworks cascade down with a load of friends and family. That was wonderful.
I love magic. And I think there are pockets and sparkles of magic in every day. For me, my magic moments often happen in the cinema. A dark room, a chance to escape to a magical fantasy land, to play detective in a true crime drama, to be whisked off on an animated silliness adventure, to sing and dance through the musicals. It's a chance to escape and to see the magic come to life. That's my magic. What's yours?
My second guest is Jackie Hamilton, whose magical place is cold water. Now, Jackie's life took a completely new direction when she decided to start wild water swimming. She moved to the coast, met new friends, and built a thriving community around her love for the water. Jackie, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What inspired you in the first place to try out wild water swimming?
It was a programme on the TV. There was a doctor called Chris Van Tuliken. They're brothers, Xander and Chris. And Chris had a programme trying to wean people off medication. And there was one young woman that he took into a river and they swam. They had wetsuits on. But it was for helping her with depression, and it really helped her. And I thought, that's fantastic. I'd like to do that. But that was 2016, and it took me another 3 or 4 years before I actually found out how to do it, because I'd suffered from depression from time to time, and I was also teaching therapists to become therapists. I had a school of therapy. And stress and depression is a major thing that therapists help people with. So this was a big key to help people and myself. And then I was talking to someone. It was 2020, and we all know what happened then. It was towards the end of the year, and I was talking to someone on the phone, and she said, "Oh, I'm going cold water swimming tomorrow." I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yes, would you like to join me?" I said, "Oh, yes, please." So I went to see pooling on the coast here in Norfolk, and that was my first experience.
Can you tell me about that first experience?
The first experience, well, it was just exciting to think that I'd actually, after that time, I found a group of people, and they were so welcoming, and they had a kit. That, of course, I just had a swimming costume and a towel, and they'd got this and they'd got that, and they got a dry robe and a changing robe, and I thought, oh wow, this was a whole world. And as I say, they were so welcoming, and I had to go with the swimming, and I just felt invigorated, and so that I'd really achieved something, although all I'd done was dip into the water, and then I heard that you could river swim. So I put a call out on an Outdoor Swimming Society Facebook group. There's groups for everything, isn't there? And to say, and somebody said, "Oh, you want to join the Crazy Ladies?" And so that's what I did. And then from there, I met a whole group of people that I just felt at home with straight away. And we used to meet regularly for river swims in Norwich.
And is there a difference between river swimming and sea swimming?
Yes, there's quite a difference. I like both. Some people like one or the other. River swimming, you're pretty certain that you're going to be able to swim because it might be cold or whatever, but the rivers more or less stay the same, whereas the sea changes daily and can be too rough to go in, and the tide goes in and out. So sometimes you get a beach, where I swim now, in Sheringham, you get a bit of a beach. Sometimes we go off the steps. So it is quite different, but I love both.
And you mentioned earlier on about, learning how to wild water swim. So, how do you do it? Are there any particular rules or things that you need to take consideration of?
Yes, and I think the most important rule is to find a group or find someone that has done it regularly so that they can take you, because you want to be safe. So having somebody to show you the ropes is essential. And you think, oh, well, it's free because you can just go there and swim. But then you see the kit and you think, oh. And so There's shoes that you need for the stones, and then you need the gloves. And one of the things that's important is that, say someone was starting this time of year and it's comparatively cold to the summer, then they wouldn't be staying in for too long.
Okay. And is there a maximum time limit depending on the temperature of the water?
The water. Well, there is. Some people say yes, that there is, say 3 degrees for 3 minutes, but other people will say that that's not right. And it does depend on the individual. I know people, most of us swim, the people that I swim with just swim in costumes all year round. We don't neoprene them up with swimsuits. But some people will regularly swim. They might swim half a mile in a river, but that's more unusual. Most of us are dipping.
Yeah. So, Jackie, how does wild water swimming feel both physically and emotionally?
That's a good question, because one of the things that we all feel is a huge buzz from it. And that's one thing you noticed when we first started, that we'd feel this buzz maybe for the rest of the day. And it becomes almost like a drug, that then you want to do it again, because sometimes you think you should warn people, well, once you start, you won't want to stop, because who wouldn't want a buzz from doing something like that? And also, according to Wim Hof, he's the Iceman, isn't he? And he's been tested by going into cold water, ice water, and it's helped the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, all the different systems of the body. And what he says is that 2 minutes in the water for your brain to feel bright, but a bit longer for the rest of the systems of your body. But quite honestly, if you're feeling good in yourself, the rest follows through, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a knock-on effect.
It has got a knock-on effect. So, yeah, it is addictive, and what a great addiction to have.
So it sounds to me like, for you, the wild water swimming, it's about, how you feel afterwards, how invigorated that you feel. But it's also that sense of community amongst the people who do it as well.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, we met in the September 2020 when they started, then they being the government, allowing us to meet in a group of 6. So 6 of us used to be able to meet. Right. And then when it was just meeting with 2 people for exercise, 2 of us at a time could meet. So then you were getting out, you were getting out of the house, you were having exercise, but also meeting someone, even though at that time we were keeping a distance, which you could do because you were outside. Yeah, and now you can just meet up, and we always have a coffee afterwards. And sometimes if the sea's too rough and we've met, sometimes just meeting up, seeing the sea or the river, usually it's the sea that you can't get in, and then we have a coffee and we feel job done. And you go home feeling that much better for it.
Yeah, for that company.
For that company
connection.
and the connection. And we come from all different walks of life and all different shapes and sizes. And one of the things that is really something that we all notice is that there is nobody takes any notice of size anymore. You might start off thinking, oh, I've got a bit of a tummy or the top of my legs, but there's none of that. And in the end, we're just all girls together, or boys, obviously, if they join us.
So you're all accepted as you are for who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is so important, isn't it?
It's really important, and it's life-changing. It's life-changing. It's changed my life, and I know that others that it's changed too.
So how has it changed your life?
Well, I was swimming in the sea. I was living in Norwich. I was swimming in the sea with a friend of mine because we chat. It's like what we're doing now, but in the water. And we're chatting away about whatever. And she said, oh, I think I'm going to get she was going to get a little holiday home, a chalet in the area where we were swimming. And I thought, what a lovely idea. So I looked for her chalet, and I saw this other one that was a really bog standard one in Bacton that I'd never even been to Bacton. It had a bedroom, but it didn't have any toilet facilities or anything like that. But I fell in love with it. I said to my husband, I've got to go and see it. So we saw it, bought it, and I started swimming in Backton, and Paul likes his comfort. And I thought he's never going to like it there because he's done up our home lovely, the garden. I thought I can't drag him away and move somewhere nearer to the coast, which is really what I wanted. But I thought this was a good stopgap. And then after 2 months, he turned around to me and said, let's move to the coast.
You're kidding me.
No. I mean, I was as shocked as you are. And so within a month, our house was on the market, and we sold it within 3 days, and it took longer for it all to go through. But by the following March, we'd moved into West Runton. I'd never been to West Runton before. It's in between Sheringham and Cromer, right on the Norfolk coast. And then by joining a local swimming group, the Blue Tits, which are all over the country, the local Sheringham group, I then got to know people where I lived. So although I'd moved quite away from where I'd lived, there's a whole community of women, it's a women's group, that I can enjoy their company.
So in a sense, it's, the wild water swimming and the women involved with the wild water swimming, it's kind of a hub, if you like.
Yes, it's changed everything.
It really sounds like it has.
I'm just so happy that I can. I feel very privileged. And I think now, as I'm getting older, I think you've got to grab it while you can.
Yeah.
Because we never know what's round the corner.
No. And some people describe swimming in wild water as being almost like a spiritual experience. Have you ever felt anything like that, or is it completely different for you?
I know people that have found it spiritual, particularly when you go through the peace that comes on you, because you can imagine a nice river that hasn't got a fast current, but it's got the trees each side, you've got the birds singing. If you can imagine being in the middle of there and just gently swimming, I mean, it's just glorious, the sun shining, and you think, this is amazing, it is magic.
How beautiful. It just shows that, finding something like wild water swimming truly can be transformational.
Yeah, everybody should do it.
And, and I'm so glad that you found your magic.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us. The magic of wild water swimming isn't just the act of swimming, it's the courage to embrace change, the joy of finding connection, and the deep healing power of nature.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. So if you've been inspired by today's conversation, maybe it's time to take the plunge yourself. Wild water swimming isn't just an activity, it's a gateway to something bigger. Thank you for listening to Finding Magic, and if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need a little bit of magic in their life. Next time on Finding Magic,
they did some blood tests and found, yes, there were cancerous cells in the blood.
We're delving into the magic of medicine.
It does seem like magic, the fact that people can come up with these really complicated ways forward, scientific theories, and they're evolving so quickly.
The Finding Magic podcasts were recorded at Soundyard in Norwich and funded by the National Lottery Community Fund and Norfolk Community Foundation. This has been a Finding Magic production with me, Beverley Bishop, produced by Ian Seisland.